How's everybody doing? My name is Augie with VIP Playlist. I'm here with my handsome co-host.
Adam, hey guys, what's up?
And tonight we have, do you want to introduce yourself and the name of your band and what you do in the band?
Yeah, so I'm Brandon, or better known as Branson, apparently, and I am the one of the guitarists for Image Intent.
Okay.
And I am Alejandro. Some people call me Drizo. And I am the other guitarist for the band Image Intent.
Trezo, that's pretty dope. It's a dope ass nickname. It's better than Augie.
My friend's dog's name is Augie, actually.
His
Yeah,
dog.
dog's
That's
name?
accurate.
Shit. Yeah, I guess
Yeah, that fits. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
I bet the dog's cuter.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, he is cute. He's one of those you know what? I can remember the breed. Whatever.
Is
He's
it
a
like a
good
really
dog.
tiny dog?
It's a small
Yeah,
dog, yeah.
small,
Yeah.
maybe a little
Yeah.
feminine.
Not masculine at all. Yeah.
In the purse.
Extremely feminine. He's got no
Yeah.
balls.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn
super,
it.
super,
Yeah.
super beta,
Yeah.
More like Omega at this point.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Well, today we are going to make a Spotify playlist with some of y'all's favorite influences and everything like that. Is there anything y'all want to name it?
What do you
Yeah.
think, Brenton?
I think we're gonna name that Mofongo.
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 Awesome.
Sweet. Now, before the show, y'all said there's a little story behind that. What is the y'all mind telling the story behind Mofongo?
So
What do you
I mean,
you want to go?
yeah, I can go for it because it's been
Okay.
it's been a little bit more of a ride for me, I think, than it has for you. So when we got together, so I started this band, like this project, like 3 years ago, and then it wasn't until when did I go to Vegas? June of last year, to record 3 songs with our vocalist Omar and Homer, the bass player. And after we recorded those 3 songs, Omar said that he knew Alejandro and Jake, which are guitars and drums, which is what I was missing for any sort of live performance. And we brought them on. And at the same time, Omar had some demos for songs that he had written before we met up that we ended up using for Image Intent. And one of them, which did not have any lyrics or anything on it, he had titled Mofongo. Just because it didn't have any like words or anything. It's like, I don't know why he named it that, but I didn't know what that was. And I didn't Google it until recently. And yeah, so it's a food dish, but there's also an Urban Dictionary entry from a fungo, which basically equates to eating fat ass.
Hell yeah.
Oh
And-
yeah, dude.
Let's go.
So, and Alejandro and the rest of the guys have been a little angry at me for not keeping the name because the subject matter for that song is about PTSD. So they didn't think it was going to be an issue, but Homer actually inspired a lot of the lyrics for that song because he was a firefighter and he has a lot of that like PTSD stuff, and so he just decided he didn't want the name either, and so he kind of just went with his.
Yeah, is that the new
Okay,
single y'all
okay,
just
fair.
released, the Face It?
No,
that's another
it's
one.
going to be the
Oh,
one that
okay,
comes
okay.
out in about 6 weeks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know he was telling me
sweet.
that Face It was a little bit about his PTSD as well. So
I think he just have PTSD with everything in life at this point.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he was in other bands before, and he probably has PTSD from those bands too, you know?
Yeah, yeah, right. So one of the like first artists we like to start these playlists off with is from like your childhood, like maybe some of your parents or grandparents showed you something like that that maybe kind of stuck with you and got you interested in music, or it could be friends or family or just whoever.
So probably my biggest influential band that my mom showed me when I was just really young, and it's kind of funny. She actually talks about going to this concert when she was still pregnant with me, so I just kind of attribute it to that's my like very first musical experience.
Yeah.
It's actually Queensryche.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Yeah, and specifically just when I discovered the Operation Mindcrime album as a whole, that was like, wow, music can tell a story. And that album is just so like cinematic and beautiful in so many parts that it stuck with me for a long time. And then I think probably my favorite like standout song on that is I Don't Believe in Love.
Yeah.
Uh, super influential. I listen to that song all the time. Still.
Nice. That's all. We actually we just talked to this one guy and he said that I think it was the drummer to Queensryche got him. Was that right? He was like he lived like two houses down from
Yeah, yeah, something like
Oh, that's
that.
crazy.
yeah, yeah, they grew up in like Seattle and he said like they would do like these little like mock band camps and shit like that. And like they would have like Queensryche and a bunch of other like people coming in to teach them how to play instruments and shit. And I was like, dude, that's fucking nuts, man.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So as far as influential for me, as I was a kid, I want to say maybe about 8 years old, 7 years old, and my dad was a big fan of Queen, and he had this album. It was a Queen's Greatest Hits, and I remember one time I picked it up and listened to it, and the movie Mighty Ducks was out around that time,
Oh
right?
yeah, man, I love that movie.
So yeah, so you know that the soundtrack was "We Are the Champions"
Yeah.
and what was the other one? See, I can't even remember. Brain fart, Had a Long Day at Work.
Yeah, you're good.
But anyway, two songs in that movie were the soundtrack. Well, I was like, oh, I was very like hyped on that movie, and then he's like, oh yeah, you know, Queen is the one that wrote the soundtrack, and then I'm like, okay, so then he let me listen to that CD, and I just got hooked, and then from then back in that was 90, I want to say like 96, 95,
Yeah.
and we had to record or essentially burn a tape from the CD. So you know how back in the day you used to record from a CD into a tape using
Yeah.
one of those. So we did
Yeah.
that just so I could take it to school and like listen to it, every day at school. And that's what got me hooked into music
That's
in
awesome.
general.
Queen is fucking timeless, man. Queen is amazing.
Years ago, I was asked between Kiss or Queen, which one would you choose? I'm like, Queen, hands down.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
dude.
nothing
Freddie
against Kiss,
Mercury
but
is
oh yeah.
just bathed in talent, bro. It's just like seeping from him.
Yeah, no, he's great, man. Oh, was
Yeah.
great. I mean,
Yeah, it
he's
was. Yeah,
a legend.
yeah.
Mhm.
You
He
got
still
a
lives on.
favorite Queen song?
It's hard to choose. It's hard to say. Um, I mean, Bohemian
Fat Bottom
Rhapsody
Girls?
is Fat Bottom Girls, man. You know, those are, but those are not just. It's not just the song that I like when it comes to Fat Bottom Girls. It's just
Yeah, it's the subject matter, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some
No,
good
but
imagery.
I think yeah, exactly. No, but I think with Queen, I would say every song they wrote is a classic.
Yeah,
You have
Yeah,
to be
for sure.
appreciative of all the styles they use and everything they applied for everything, and almost the theatrics.
yeah,
It was just
He's
great.
very theatrical.
Mhm.
So you say Bohemian or Fat Bottom? Which or
You know,
both, or both.
I always wanted to do like a death metal version of I Want to Ride My Bicycle.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
I mean, that would be dope, to be honest with you.
You got to pick one to put on the playlist, though.
All right. Which one is the one that goes like, I'm like a shooting star, na 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 na, like a tiger, defying the
shit.
laws of gravity. You know
Yeah.
which one I'm talking about, right? I just can't remember the name.
That one? Or am I
Oh,
off?
Don't Stop Me Now. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't
Okay.
stop
That's a
me
good one,
now.
dude. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. There we go.
Love
I
that
love
one.
that song, man. And the range the guy has,
Oh yeah,
man,
dude.
Oh yeah, incredible.
seriously. Hashtag hopes, goals.
What kind of got you guys into, maybe your own musical taste? I mean, we know, what your parents might have imparted on you, but at what age did you start kind of growing into your own taste and figuring out what you liked, besides what maybe your parents listened to?
Well, I know that as well. Brandon, you want to go first?
Sure. So my parents listened to a lot of like 80s metal. So it was always just, Metallica, like Motley Crue, Rat, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And once I started discovering more like harsh vocals is when I kind of broke off from what they listened to. Because to this day, my mom just refuses to listen to anything with screams.
Yep.
And I think the first time my mom was like, "What are you listening to?" was probably trying to think of the time frame on that. It's probably the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Okay.
Definitely like once I discovered Greg Puciato's like vocal range and
Hmm.
just pure talent, and then just like the craziness of what they were doing, it just blew my mind. Just going from, pretty standard structured songs to just hearing off the wall craziness in like
Right.
time signatures and just all the crazy guitars, really like opened a lot of doors for me like mentally and what music could be. So
Hmm.
I think the first song that I really just absolutely loved from them, it was 2013, was their One of Us is the Killer album. That album is insane and just
Hmm.
wonderful. But the one song on there that's not crazy that I just love and still listen to almost weekly is One of Us is the Killer, which is probably one of their most mellow songs, but just the impact on it as it builds and gets to the bridge section is just phenomenal.
Yeah. That's awesome. Alejandra?
That is cool. For me, I would say I grew up in Colombia, South America, right? So out there, the English culture or American culture is big, but it's not for everybody, So I grew up around like Spanish rock and Spanish music, but then I had a neighbor that was a couple of years older than me, and he used to listen to a lot of rock and metal and things like that. And he started introducing me to a lot of little things here and there. Um, but I would say the first band that really was an impact for me was The Offspring. The Offspring back in like '97. That's when I was kind of like introduced to it. Offspring led on to, and prior to that, I mean, like bands like Nirvana and things like that. But Offspring is the one that really resonates with me. And from then on, I started going into the punk rock, skate punk side of music, um, which over the years became more into the pop punk. But when I came to the US in 2004, um, screamo and post hardcore were like super big, and I started really getting deep into that. Kind of forgot a little bit of my punk rock side, and then from then on, I went into death metal and hardcore, and then I went full circle. After that, I went back into pop punk, then punk rock, and here we are. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's a couple of I guess we'll get an Offspring song. Is that the
Yeah.
first one you mentioned? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, good choice. I mean, if you want good Offspring song, the kids aren't all right. It's a
Yeah.
classic.
That is a
Hmm.
good
It's
one.
a great song. Um, what other song? I would say, oh man, there's just so many good ones. I would say Self Esteem is always a classic.
Yeah, self-esteem is good too. I had
Self
their greatest
Esteem.
hits when I was younger.
Oh yeah. You kind of started like me with Queen, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my parents didn't really listen to a whole lot of music growing up. They listened to like whatever was on the radio, so I only heard like the
Okay.
radio hits. Like everything else that I know about music, I had to like dive into myself and find.
Yeah, Offspring is a classic, man.
Yeah, and we're with the help of my older brother as well. He was listening to a lot of music. I stole a lot of his CDs. So
And you know what's crazy is that because I lived in a different country, a band like Bad Religion, which you can associate so much to the Offspring here, I never really listened to very much. I remember listening to one of their songs in 2001, Sorrow. It was the new release at the time, but I never really got into them very much until I came here, and then they just blew my mind. The amount of melodic qualities their music has for being a punk rock band, it's freaking
yeah.
amazing, man.
You see, I never got
How
into go ahead, Adam.
I was just say, how old were you when you came to the States?
I was 17.
Oh wow. So you
Dang, yeah.
were and how long have you been here? Okay, so a
21.
little over half.
No,
But I mean,
19 years. Sorry, 19
okay,
years.
so more than half. But by 17, especially in Colombia, you're probably like, I mean, you were fully grown, and wow, man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
Big
it's quite
change
the
for sure.
experience.
Yeah, I
Oh,
bet. Augie, go ahead.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, so Image Intent, man. So y'all are pretty much like from Las Vegas and where was it? Utah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
Salt
Yeah,
Lake.
okay, Salt Lake. Yeah. So how did y'all all get together and meet, man?
Yeah, because that's a 6.5 hour drive, if
Yeah.
I'm not
so
Tinder.
mistaken.
the first song that is on
Tinder.
yeah, Tinder for bands. I've actually I do a little bit of app development, and I thought about making like a Tinder for bands.
That's
There's
actually
one
really
already.
smart.
Yeah.
There's
There's
already
one
one
Oh,
actually. Yeah, it's called
swiping
Vamper.
through
Oh shit.
yours will be better, Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I
um,
believe it. It would have Branson's signature all over it.
so the first song that came out from Image Intent, like under that name, is an instrumental song. And
Mhm.
when I recorded that, I didn't have a vocalist or a band or anything, but I am good friends with he's the drummer for Red now. His name's Brian. I've known him since junior high. And so he helped me like find someone to go into studio with, and like he did the drums on it. And then Nick was in a band called Otherwise. Brian was in a band called Otherwise, and the bass player for Otherwise, his name is Nick, and he's not in Otherwise anymore. But anyway, he turned me on to Nick once I started writing more songs because Nick does a little bit of production and stuff. And so when I was writing the demos for Ryan Gosling and Just Face It, I asked him if he knew anybody that could do vocals, and he turned me on to Omar. And Omar and Nick were both in Vegas, so I traveled down to Vegas to go record with Nick, and then that's how we all kind of got together.
Like, how far is Utah from Vegas?
It's only like a 5.5 hour, 6 hour drive.
Oh, that ain't bad then. Okay, that ain't bad at all. It's like,
Definitely not. It's not too bad.
yeah, I was thinking a lot further than that, but yeah, no, okay. So what is the name also? Image Intent. So it's like image slash intent. Where did y'all come up with the name for that?
So I have done a lot of like photography, and I just grew up watching movies and just loving like going to the movies, and there's just a whole list of movies. Like I'd much rather watch a movie as opposed to like a TV show or anything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And so most of my life I've just like always been a very like image based person. And so that's kind of where the image part came from. And then the intent is again my friend Brian, we had a lot of conversations when I was kind of starting this project because I'm 31, and you know starting to do the band thing at 31 just kind of felt like silly. like I
All
have
right. Yeah.
and so we had a lot of conversations about like, well, where can this go? Like, how am I going to do this so I'm not just, you know, a bar star, you know, playing locally? Like, if I'm going to do this, I want to try and do it as big as possible. And so we kind of talked about like just setting intentions and really focusing on what it is you want to accomplish, and then taking a look at all the decisions you make. And it's like, okay, is this getting me to where I'm going? And so that combined with just how visually I kind of try and picture everything as image intent. And it just kind of sounded cool and wasn't taken by another band.
yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
man. Speaking of, you mentioned photography. I was going to say, um, uh, in preparation for these, we listen to whatever we can get our hands on musically. We peep your social medias and the visuals you guys have, like music videos, pictures, like even just like your band, like logo and everything. It all looks really nice, like really clean. Do you guys do that on your own? You guys kind of collab with people? Because it's really good quality.
So that's, 99% of that's all me. um,
Okay.
so a lot of
Nice.
the imagery and everything I kind of work on, and then the guys all help, give input on what they like and don't like. And it's been a more of a collaboration now. I had
Sure.
the logo before I think I even met Homer or Omar.
Hmm.
So that was all on my own, and it's slowly growing into a more collaborative thing
Yeah.
and getting everybody else's input on how everything should look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've spoken with like especially now more and more bands that are doing like their own imagery, photos, like editing. Obviously, a lot of them do all of their recording. I think there was a few of them that even mastered their own stuff.
Yeah.
And some that only strictly send, something out to get mastered just to have somebody, another ear. Do you guys also do all your own recordings as well?
No, so I think at least for me, I'm on the end of, send it to somebody better. That's
Yeah.
There you
that's
go.
where you should really put the money because
Sure.
when you're writing a song, by the time you get to, towards the end of it, I think you're so focused on certain aspects of it that you aren't seeing the full picture.
Yep.
And so finding somebody that's, A, more talented than you at that, and B, that like really can make an impact on the song overall is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
do
it's
agree
just,
with that.
yeah. I mean, it's like anything else, you stare at, if you're drawing something and you're stuck and you're staring at it, the same thing for ever, like nothing's going to happen,
Yeah.
or nothing good anyways, usually. So,
And when
yeah,
it
that's
comes to
dope.
music, when it comes to, sorry for interrupt, I
No, go
was
ahead.
gonna, add a little bit there. When it comes to the music portion is, and I've talked to the guys too, is say for example, I come up with a song and I send it, and I think it's perfect, right? But then all the guys have their input and everything like that. And to me, writing a song, it's difficult to come up with something great on your own unless you're some kind of like prodigy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's good to have the point of view of everybody, in especially as a band, having that contribution of everybody and kind of seeing what everybody kind of hears really helps out a lot. So same applies to recording, recording, mixing, and mastering, producing everything. It really helps out to have that outside influence.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Different people with their hands on it, they kind of all have different input, make it better. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you guys you released that instrumental song in 2021. Y'all didn't release anything else until what was it, like this year
December
or
last
late
year.
last year? Yeah,
Remember?
December
Yeah.
last year. So y'all went a long time without releasing anything. I know you were getting the band together and everything like that. I'm assuming y'all have a lot recorded already and just like ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan is for the next hopefully year to 18 months, we're going to be releasing a song every 6 weeks.
Dang, that's
Oh,
awesome,
wow.
dude. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Getting it all lined up. I bet that makes everything easy.
It
No.
does, but it
No?
can be a headache.
Yeah.
Well, on the front end, it's like it's brutal. And then also, I've never made music, but I can imagine if the intent is there for you guys to get it out, you've got all this stuff you're sitting on. I imagine that there's an anxiousness to just, here's all of it, right? Like
Pretty
just put it all
much.
out. Because I mean, you just want to get your
Get the
art out
ears
there.
on it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
say Omar is the most impatient one out of the whole band. He's sort of
Yeah.
like, can we release this? Can we play it? Calm down, dude. You can wait
Yeah.
24 more hours.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I get that way with these sometimes when we record one and I'm just like, man. But I there's a lot of work to do with these. I have to edit it all down and make it sound good and digestible to everybody. And yeah, there's just a lot of work that goes into stuff like this for sure.
Oh
I
yeah.
can relate on that, especially with, just wanting it to sound good to everybody. So
Yeah. Well, I think for us, it helps that we're sending out the tracks in the like one at a time to be worked on
yeah.
instead of a bunch at a time getting everything back. And then we're like, oh, I want to kind of like play everything at once. That I think that helps a lot because it forces us to be patient,
Yeah.
and it allows us to also, if we need to do any kind of revisions prior to sending the tracks, we can do it as
That is
opposed to
true.
just like, okay, let's do everything at once, and then like 2 months on the road when you already have the track master ready to go, you're like, oh crap, this would have sounded a lot better here.
Yeah.
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 Super disciplined. I'm not sure I could do it.
Should I
That's
fall
for
into
sure.
that though? Because we have what, like 6 episodes recorded right now we're sitting on?
Yeah, but we have like a schedule, like,
Yeah.
we're like
It's
we
because,
do a weekly podcast like every
yeah.
Thursday. So we try to have some recorded so we're not living paycheck to paycheck, so to speak.
Well,
Um,
if
well,
we're speaking like that, we're like homeless, bro.
in
Like,
the podcast world,
yeah, I
yeah,
spend money to do this shit. Like,
yeah,
They'll make no money from it. But yeah, we're sitting on like 6 episodes. We got a lot recorded, but like I said, just with time management and everything, and I'm only with the amount of time I have. So I was late to this interview, so like I only have enough time to edit one a week because time management. I got a full-time job over 10 hours a day, so
Trust me, we know.
yeah, it sucks.
It's called adulting, my friend.
It is, dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
it sucks.
tough.
I fucking hate it.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Adulting.
Yeah,
shit,
welcome,
dude.
Augie.
Well, I've been here,
You're
bro.
about
I've
to
been
get
here a
fucked.
long time. Shit.
It's like you turn 18 and then somebody should welcome you. Like,
Mm.
welcome to adulting. You're about to get fucked for the rest of your life.
Somebody should teach
Be
you
ready.
before you turn 18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
man.
Yeah, fuck, dude.
So,
Yeah.
how'd you guys get into your respective instruments? Did you take lessons? You self-taught? How did that all start out? And why?
That's a good question. So I'll take in this one first, Branson. For me, actually, I was gifted a keyboard for a Christmas many years ago when I was a kid. And I was very shy at the time. My parents tried to get me lessons, and I couldn't even look at the teacher in the eye. Well, then later down the road, the same neighbor friend that I had, him and a few other friends, we were invited to somebody else's house or something, can remember, and said, "Oh, bring your instruments, we're gonna play." So I had to bring my keyboard. Mind you, this is a big Casio keyboard, big for me at the time, anyway.
Yeah.
And you have to plug it into the wall with an adapter. Well, at one point, we ended up in the bed of a truck, and everybody's there with guitars and playing and singing, and then I'm there with a keyboard that just useless. And I'm like, I hate this. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
And I looked at the guitars. I'm like, it's such an easy instrument and so versatile. And then from then on, I asked my dad multiple times to teach me, which he said, I don't know how to teach you because I taught myself. Right? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And that never made sense to me because I was like, well, if you can play it, I'm sure you can show me how to do some things. Later, maybe a couple of years later, I actually grabbed his guitar, and then my mom's, they were separated or divorced at the time, so they both each had a guitar. So I would always try to grab it and play and strum. And over time, a buddy of mine showed me how to do one power chord, and that was life changing. From that point on, I was able to play anything I wanted for the most part, any basic rhythm, and just I started, listening to bands like The Offspring or like Blink-182. And
Yeah.
I was just, I learned by ear and I taught myself by ear. And, that was like 97. So
Damn. Okay.
I've gone, 26 years self-taught. And, I've gone through several bands and I've tried different instruments. I ended up going back to the keyboard, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Just to teach myself a little bit, but
Mhm.
that's what led me to get the guitar, man. Guitar, I feel like it's the versatility of it, and you can do so much with electric guitars, especially nowadays with all the effects you can get out
Oh
of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
For sure.
So anyway, that's my story, and I'm
That's
sticking
a really awesome story, man, and funny how that all led you here.
yeah.
Now, do you understand now what your dad was saying by he couldn't teach you?
You know what? Yes, actually, in a way, so yes and no. So in a way, I can because I feel like he thought it was more so like the theory behind it. A lot
Yeah.
of people like to throw letters to me when they're like, "Oh, play this." I'm like, "Huh?" That music theory crap.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Like, give me a sound. Like, tell me what sound you want me to play, and I'll play.
exactly. So, but instead, he could have just taken the time to show me chords, and that right there would have helped me a lot because it would have been a good introduction to it, right?
Yeah.
So he could have showed me where to put my fingers. Another thing, however, I am left-handed and he wasn't. He was right-handed.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the craziest thing of it all is that every time I would grab the guitar, I would grab it left-handed. He's like, "Well, you're never gonna play it right because the strings are upside down." And I'm like, "Well, can you switch them?" And at the time, I thought it was the easiest thing,
Yeah.
right? But then the weirdest part is that one day I went to grab the guitar and set it up left-handed as I normally was gonna play. I grabbed it, felt weird, and I rotated it back. Grabbed it like a right-handed person, and it just felt natural from that point. it just like it clicked. It's like when Spider-Man got bit by that spider and like the day after he was mighty powerful. It's kind of like that. It just and then ever since then, I'm still left-handed, but I play the guitar right-handed.
Yeah. We knew a guy that was left-handed, and he would just flip his guitar and play it the other way, upside down, right? So
yeah, he would play it upside down. It was weird, dude. Like
yeah,
yeah. But I was gonna say you got cut by one of those radioactive strings, man.
Probably. I mean, I did live in Colombia, so who knows?
Who knows?
What about you, Brandon?
So, man, all my stories are gonna just relate back to like 80s hair metal. That's just what I grew up listening to, and I was like, I'm trying to remember when I just first really started thinking of music as like something I could play and not just listen to. And it's probably when my uncle gave me a little piece of shit, like 3/4 size, just knockoff Eddie Van Halen looking guitar. And man, nice. I wish I still fucking had that thing, and it haunts me that I don't. So I got that, and then my dad took me to just like a music store that sold like tablature books and music books and stuff. And I picked up a Metallica like tab book. It had just like the riffs of all of their songs. And I just started teaching myself how to play that. And then, once the internet started kind of becoming more useful, I would just start looking at songs that I wanted to play online. And I think the beauty of like 80s hair metal was just how performative it was. And like, you have all these crazy guitar solos and everybody's just got, basically costumes, and it looked so cool. And so I just decided I wanted to play something on stage and like be a guitar player. So I taught myself a bunch of Metallica songs, and then as my music taste kind of changed, I would just teach myself things that I enjoyed listening to, and then eventually started, taking those things and writing my own songs.
That's awesome.
You should wear costumes now that you think about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the intent should be there.
Yeah, you should get the image of the.
Our vocalist girlfriend has decided she's going to send me a new Taco Bell shirt like every month, because I wore a Taco Bell shirt in one of the Branson TikTok videos I made, and now Branson wears Taco Bell shirts.
Hell yeah, dude! I have a Taco Bell shirt.
Hey, maybe you'll get sponsored, dude. That wouldn't be bad.
There you go.
I've got like an old retro Taco Bell shirt. It's not old and retro. It's like, I think I bought it a couple years ago, but I bought it from Kohl's, and so it's like one of their old logos. It's like an all black shirt with one of their old logos on it, and I fucking love that shirt.
I just want to point out that we are speaking to Branson right now. He has a Diablo.
He does,
t-shirt. Yeah. Diablo sauce from.
Bottom says you had me at taco.
I'm so dumb. I didn't see the bottom part of the shirt, and I was just like, I was just like, Diablo the video game.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's what I thought too. Not gonna lie.
Right now,
Diablo sauce is goated though.
He's just being saucy right now. That's
so
Branson,
saucy.
man. Branson's a little saucy.
Very saucy today.
Oh shit! Listen up, all you VIP peers
and VIP players.
Goddamn Patreon now.
Kid is so aggressive.
I did.
We have a Patreon now.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
And a Discord.
Yeah.
And a YouTube.
Discord. Come join
no webcams yet.
No webcams. You can't see our beautiful face.
Not yet.
Yeah. Shout out to Enormous Adam on Discord. Hit him up if you need a Discord. He did a great job on ours. It looks cool. But guess what? You won't know how it looks unless you join that bitch. If you would, please join our Discord and our Patreon. It would be really cool of you. We would love you forever. We'd still love you forever, even if you don't.
Yeah. But you join the Patreon, you're going to get stickers. You get to dehumanize me.
Yes.
You want to know what that means?
Go look at the Patreon. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And subscribe to our fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah. Comment.
Thank you.
Review. Subscribe. We love you more.
All that stuff. Do everything that you do for all the people that you love on YouTube. Do it for us too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We love you.
So let's kind of take it back to the music a little bit. You guys mentioned 80s hair metal and then, of course, The Offspring and Nirvana and stuff like that. But that isn't necessarily the type of music y'all play. Y'all play a little bit more of aggressive style. So what kind of got y'all into that genre?
Killswitch Engaged.
All
Yeah.
right.
Fuck yeah,
The
bro.
dawn of metalcore,
There you
man, was
go.
just such a beautiful, and like even just some of the new metal stuff like Deftones, and man, that time period was just so fucking cool for music.
It really
And
was, yeah.
For me, I would say a combination of the Black Dahlia Murder, As I Lay
Okay.
Dying, Between the Buried and Me, and believe it or not, Alexis and Fire.
Oh, nice. I love them, dude. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so great, all great bands. Just everybody has their own different style to them. Between the Buried and Me is what really like led me into looking at the technical side of
Oh yeah.
Yes.
playing.
Yeah. So Between the Buried and Me was around a long time, but when I was 15, I was doing driver's ed. And this kid had a Between the Buried and Me Alaska hoodie. He was in my driver's ed class. And so I was like, yeah, this was back when I was just like buying random shit to listen to.
Yeah.
So we had a Hastings at the time, RIP. And I went to Hastings bookstore, and the only album they had from Between the Buried and Me was Colors. And I threw it on.
Oh man,
And
lucky you.
that was the most insane shit I have ever heard in my life.
Hmm.
It was
Dude,
so fucking crazy.
that album is like having ADD.
Yes, yes,
Because
absolutely.
from
Absolutely.
beginning to end changes constantly.
Hmm.
And it's
I'd
so
never heard
good.
any because all the bands that I listened to were like, I was like big into like the Chariot and Norma Jean and like
Oh,
Under
yeah.
Oath and shit. So it was all like, constant rhythm the whole time, maybe a change up here and there. But when I threw that album on, like every like 30 to 45 seconds, it was something completely different in the same song. So
Mhm.
it was nuts, man.
I know, dude. That's a great album. So
Yeah.
you got yourself a good introduction to them, by the way. I
Yeah.
mean, not to say that the ones before weren't, but I think by then they had a more defined sound.
Yeah. They were
And they,
polished and yeah, more defined. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So the one like Alaska was the album before that, and Alaska was good, but the top songs were Alaska and Sulkies in that album for me. But then the album before that one was a little bit more like metalcore a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But then from the time they went progressive, they just never looked back, man. And
Yeah.
they've been getting better and better.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So let's get a Kill Switch song, man.
oh man, um, God, I don't want to say my curse.
Come on, why not?
That's a good one, man. That's a good
That's
one.
just that's the one for everybody.
Comfort
Yeah.
or solace for the end of
Honestly, though,
Yeah.
I think like the end of Heartache was probably bigger for me.
Yeah, man. That was on the Resident Evil soundtrack.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That was my introduction to Kill Switch was that Resident Evil soundtrack. Yeah. I saw them live in '07 at Warped Tour. It was fucking sick,
I
dude.
did too in
Did
Salt
you
Lake.
really?
Yeah, that was the year I went to Warped Tour in Salt Lake and I saw him.
Yeah, man. I saw them in Dallas, of course. But yeah, dude, they were so fucking good, man. Like, oh man. Do you prefer Howard Jones or Jesse Leach?
That's a hard question. I feel like they're almost two different bands for me because
Yeah.
I love Howard and I love Jesse Leach. And honestly, like I didn't even go back and listen to the first albums with Jesse Leach on them
Yeah.
till they brought him back. And I read or someone told me that that was the original singer. And then I went back and listened to, I can never remember like the names of anything, Alive or Just Breathing. And honestly, like I love that album so fucking much. And
Yeah.
I think that they definitely made a more of an impact with Howard.
Yeah.
And like when Jesse first came back, I really liked those first couple albums. And then I don't know, with the last few, I just feel like it's the same thing almost.
Yeah.
So I haven't really been able to get too much into it. But I would say Howard's probably the bigger influence on me just because it was so emotional
Yeah. I
and
think
it was heavy.
when
And
we're
I didn't-
speaking
yeah.
of like older Kill Switch, I think Jesse Leach older Kill Switch was perfect. I haven't really listened to any of their newer stuff with him, but it was perfect. It was good. But I will say I don't think they would have ever reached the stardom that they reached without Howard Jones.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think
Yeah.
he made it, his
Oh.
voice made it digestible. Like made metalcore digestible to the masses, to where literally anybody, if you did not like screaming, it didn't matter. You could still listen to Kill Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They
Fair.
did a song with Jesse and Howard on this last album, and when they dropped, because I think they dropped that without like even saying anything about him being on it, I lost my shit. That
Oh,
song is
nice.
so fucking good.
Yeah. I know. I think it was one of the albums that Howard Jones just did with him just went platinum.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the one with my curse on it
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Instagram the other day.
That's fucking cool, man. Deftones?
Yeah, White Pony, man. That album
Yeah.
like changed my life.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then just doing like a because I didn't really get into him before that point, and I feel like a lot of people got into him with Saturday Night Wrist. But once I heard White Pony, it was over, man. I just loved the whole ambient, like heavy,
Yeah.
just the tonality of the guitars and the crazy things he does with his voice and just the weird melodies. It was just beautiful for me.
Yeah. The first song I heard from Deftones was Shove It, My Own Summer. And I think that was on that previous album.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking did it, man. That sealed the deal for me, dude. And then I bought White Pony, and I don't know if you remember this. Did you have a physical copy of White Pony?
I did not.
You did not? All right. You can look this up on YouTube, and it was the dopest shit ever. So if you were to put the physical copy into your computer, it had a mini game on it. It was Pac-Man, but it was you were a white pony and you had to pick, I don't remember what it was, but you would like go through, the white pony was Pac-Man, and then their faces were the little things like that eat the
ghosts.
Pac-Man. Yeah, the ghosts. And what was playing was like an 8-bit version of their songs in the background.
I don't know
It
if I
was
didn't know
so
about this.
fucking
That's
dope,
amazing.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so fucking. You can
YouTube it
look it up
later.
on YouTube. It's fucking cool, man. I remember playing that when I was a kid too. It was dope.
You know what's crazy? I remember they had said years ago when Californication album came out, they said that if you have the copy and you put it into your computer or your PlayStation, you could play that game from the Californication
Oh
music
shit,
video.
that's cool.
But
Oh,
that was, I think, a rumor. I never saw that actually
Oh.
happening.
Yeah, I know
Which
Linkin
is sad
Park
because
had
it would've
something
been
cool. Linkin Park had something cool with, I think it was Meteora. You could put it in there, and it was like a big Gundam. You could watch like the music video and everything like that. It was fucking dope.
That's
They
all.
used to do that weird shit like that. But did you give us a Deftones song?
he did not.
Passenger.
Passenger, yeah, with Maynard.
Hmm.
Love that song.
Yeah,
I've seen both of them live. How awesome.
yeah, man. You sat through that 12-hour Tool show.
I sure did.
12-hour Tool show.
No,
He's just being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Their
was gonna
songs are
say
like
my
10 minutes.
condolences, man.
Tool songs are so fucking long. Bro,
It was a two. It was just a little opener, some like weird. I don't even know what they were. And then Tool for like 2 hours. So it was great.
I'll cut this shit off if you want me to, Adam. But I gotta tell this story because it's the funniest fucking.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we were young, this is a long time ago. We were in our local strip club,
Uh-huh.
and Adam got a lap dance from this one, and a Tool song started playing, and she was like, "Well, we'll just wait to the next one." And Adam looked at her and was like, "Why?" Because this song's 6 minutes long.
Best lap dance ever.
Right? He got his money's worth for
I was
sure.
like, no. I know what
No, you can
song.
start.
You can
Talk
go
about
ahead.
getting a good bang for your buck, right?
Yeah.
25 a song, right?
Yeah, right?
That's what I heard.
That's funny, man.
Shit. The Black Dahlia murder?
Oh, you want a song by the Black Dahlia Murder? So many good ones. I think Death Mask Divine is actually a really good one.
As I Lay Dying?
As I Lay Dying.
Oh man, Ocean
You know
Between
what?
Us is my favorite, but that's your band that you said.
No, you know what? Let's go classic. 94 Hours.
The OG As I Lay Dying
Yeah,
song.
man.
That's what really blew them up.
That's what I'm saying.
Between the Buried and Me.
Between the Buried and Me. Just let's go classic. Put Selkies in there. Soul Keys is the
So
one song that
keys.
just really got me like, oh my God, what is this? What am I listening to?
Yeah. And then Alexis on Fire.
Alexis on Fire. What is the name of the song? Hold on, because I know exactly which one I want, but I just can't remember. I can never remember the name. So bear with me. I know Branson was using his phone, so I get to do the same thing.
Yeah, man, I was
Let's.
prepared. I have like a whole notes list because I saw your guys' description about you interview artists about their favorite artists, and I was like,
Yeah.
gotta write this down or else it's gonna take me forever to like think about them. As soon as I get a question, I'm just like, I have no idea. I've never listened to music before.
Right.
It's called "Born and Raised" by Alexis on Fire. I would
All
say that's
right.
probably one of my favorite songs by them.
Also, I feel like I need one more from this time period in my life.
Yeah, man.
And the other guys make fun of me, but I fucking love Limp Bizkit
Hey, man.
so much.
You're not alone. There's
You're
been
not alone, dog. You're not alone.
several bands we've talked to, and they just absolutely love
He's
him.
timeless, dude. It's such good shit, dude.
Like, take a look around from the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack.
Oh, that's actually a good song.
That
Yeah.
Even though
song
it's
hit
still Limp
so
Bizkit.
hard.
Hey, man. Limp Bizkit's the shit, dude. I had that hot dog flavored water CD, all right?
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm not gonna hate because back in about that period of 2001 or so, I had a pirate copy of that album, and then there was a girl that gave me one of those like hats, the baseball hats, and I used to
Yeah.
wear it backwards all the time. So I'm not gonna hate on that.
Hell
That
yeah,
that that was a
man.
fact. Now I grew up out of that phase of my life. I burned the hat.
Oh yeah. It's the only way, that's the only way to get rid of a Limp Bizkit hat respectfully, all right?
Yeah, just a proper ritual. Oh,
Yeah,
Ritual is
man.
another good song by Black Dahlia Murder. Anyway, just
So I'm kind of curious, growing up in like Colombia, man, what were like the music scene like around there, dude?
oh man, it was different. So how can I put it? So when I grew up in there was a lot of like there's a dirty punk rock guys, right? So mind you, Colombia in some areas it can be a very poor atmosphere, right? So there's a lot of the guys that wanted to be punk rock in the punk rock community. It's a lot of like, you know, I don't want to say poor people, but like lower income and the people that were, of, I guess higher status or social status or whatever you want to call it. They used to always go like, I want to be poor because I want to be punk rock, right? These people were so strange because they always wanted to start fights with random people just for no reason. So it was kind of like a very aggressive scene. And now grown up, you see the punk rock people, and the punk rock people are supposed to be so friendly in this. But back then, I felt like it was a bunch of like people looking for excuses to be kind of violent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There was a big scene of like skinheads and Nazi punks, believe it or not, in
Oh
Colombia.
wow, yeah.
I don't get why, but I was never around that much. It was kind of hard to see, and they always used to like hang out in like downtown area and everything, which at nighttime downtown is very unsafe
Yeah.
out there. Um, so around that time, like early 2000s, the kind of post-hardcore like emo scene started like coming about. So these were more, your average kids just enjoying music and starting bands and everything like that. But I would say the scene is not as widely spread as here. With that said, however, there is a festival they host once a year, and it's a big festival where they it's called Rock in the Park. And there is one of the probably like the biggest park they have in the capital city, which is where I'm from, Bogota. And they bring bands like big name bands from Spanish rock community, and even some bands from like overseas like the US and such. So there's been big name American bands that have played at that festival. So nowadays is really is much better, but back in the day it just felt kind of like tacky.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
So, what's your guys' songwriting process like? How does it start? And take us through that process. I'm very interested in hearing different bands. Some bands are like, oh, I kind of bring everything. One guy kind of brings everything and they workshop it. Or I mean, it's very interesting to hear that process.
So it's been interesting just because we've been separated by, you know, distance. But
Yeah.
the two songs we have out were demos that I had written pretty much by myself for the skeleton of the song.
Hmm.
And then once Omar came on board, we worked together on vocal stuff, and then we kind of polished everything off in studio with Nick. And now, as we're trying to get songs ready to go in and record for these, upcoming releases, we're all just starting ideas and throwing it out to the group, and then everybody kind of starts to make changes and puts their own stuff in it, and it's been really cool. I think generally either Alejandro or I will start a song, and then we will send it to either like each other or to Omar, who's our vocalist. And Omar is really good with like drum programming and just overall song structure in general.
Hmm.
So he like there was a song idea I had recently where he basically took like 15% of what I had written out and he made it a much like more straightforward song, and it's all the better for it. So he'll basically rearrange it to fit his vocal style and his writing. And then we are planning on taking those in studio to kind of further just polish them off and stuff. And Alejandro's
Yeah.
got a few that have been had that done to him as well.
He has a good vision when it comes to song structure. Like Brandon said, as a vocalist, it helps out because he thinks of the placement of his parts as opposed to, oh, let's do verse, verse, chorus, maybe a bridge here, a chorus, and finish
Yeah.
the song. It's more like what he wants to say, what message he wants to, project with each song. So it's cool.
Yeah, that sounds sweet.
You mentioned you're like a movie buff, man. What's your favorite movies?
Well, if you've seen anything on where I talk about how Ryan Gosling was written, I wrote that demo while I was watching Blade Runner 2049. Uh, and I gave it the demo name Ryan Gosling, and I was like, this is going to be a great marketing move. And it like a lot of the emotion that came from that got put into that song was just kind of connecting with his arc in that movie. And then the lyrical content came from a line in Interstellar, which is another one of my favorites.
Okay.
And so those two are huge. I love Quentin Tarantino. Anything by Christopher Nolan. Yeah. So I also loved the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I didn't see
Uh,
it.
It's pretty good.
It's very, very good. And then classics like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. I'm kind of a huge nerd.
Yeah.
That's all
See,
right. What's your favorite movie soundtrack? I can put you on the spot.
Oh man. This is gonna be so stupid, but I can't lie. There's a
Mission Impossible
old-
2.
no, just this that Limp Bizkit. I can't remember anything else from that movie. There's an old movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Last Action Hero.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen that
That
movie.
soundtrack
Yeah.
is so fucking good. It's got like Tesla on there and Alice in Chains and Queensryche. Like just a lot of the stuff that I grew up listening to is on that
I think that
soundtrack. Really good.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that, and I'll pay attention to that because usually, I mean, obviously, I'm just watching the movie. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they got AC/DC, Alice in Chains, Megadeth,
Dude,
Queensryche,
Yeah,
Def
wow.
Leppard, Anthrax,
Okay.
Aerosmith,
super
Alice
good
in
soundtrack.
Chains, Cypress fucking Hill, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishbone, Tesla, and then the last one is just somebody I don't know who that is. So that's dope. Hell yeah, dude. That's a good soundtrack. I was gonna say, the reason I didn't watch the Batman movie isn't because all the other reasons that people didn't watch it. I just don't watch movies. We have I have 3 kids, so I have like a set amount of time I have at night when they go to bed to do whatever I want, and I spend that time playing video games. So and
Nothing
this.
wrong with that.
Yeah, video games and that's all I do. And when we do watch something, it's normally like anime. So But I do like older movies. I watched a lot of movies when I was younger. And like Army of Darkness and Evil Dead. I fucking love those movies.
Oh, so good. My
Yes.
uncle showed me Army of Darkness when I was like, I want to say I was like 6.
Yeah,
And
such a good movie.
I that really like turned me on to horror, which I love the
Yeah.
whole like horror genre, and especially like B horror movies like that.
Yes, yeah. So
And
my son actually right there, he just asked me, he was like, Daddy, I want to watch my first horror movie. And my mom told me to ask you, because we're separated, me and his mom, and she was like, she told me to ask you what I should watch. And I was like, uh, probably let him watch Army of Darkness. I don't remember like if there's anything bad in there, but I think Army of Darkness is just like it's like just the right amount of horror and comedy that, if he is scared of it, he can just laugh because the next thing coming is goofy as shit. So,
yeah, love it so much.
yeah. And then like I think one of our favorite movies, and this is probably like me and Adam in our like bachelor days, The Big Lebowski. Fucking probably like the
Yeah.
most boring goddamn movie ever, but it's so
It's amazing.
fucking funny, dude.
Not to me.
I've seen that movie probably. Well, that's probably one of my top watched movies throughout my life.
Yes, Big Lebowski is
Same,
fucking
yeah.
hilarious. I
It's
love that movie.
so funny.
Yeah, nobody fucks with it, Jesus.
We believe in nothing.
Yeah.
I like the part where I can't even say it. I'm gonna start laughing. Where he's trying to get them where they won't break in his house, and he's like hammering down that 2x4, but the door opens the other way. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, whew.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's just
that's a good movie, yeah.
again, just all their movies are so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, like we watched a lot of movies when I was younger, and I don't watch any new ones now. Like, I watched all the like Marvel movies and shit like that, but I don't know. We watch a lot of kids movies too, so
I bet.
yeah.
What are some like bands, artists you guys are into now?
Yeah.
Why don't you go first, Alejandro?
Okay. Now I would say I like Era a lot. Everybody kind of knows that.
Yeah.
They're
Era's
great.
great. Periphery is great. I love the combination of influences they put together. Another one that I've been listening to lately is Memphis Mayfire.
Mhm.
Good band as well. Let's see what other bands am I? I mean, I like Spirit Box is good.
Oh yeah.
Make Them Suffer is good. Yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I've been listening to lately. Just because I tend to listen to certain type of music when I want to get inspired when I'm working on something. So here working in Image Intent, I want to be able to bring in, like, I always want to be different,
Yeah.
bring in something
Yeah.
unique to the table, but I have to draw inspiration from somewhere. So I kind of like let it all sink in, and then I stop listening to music for like a while, and then so I can just let it all out,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Nice. A band I've really been into for the past, I don't know, 2-3 years that is just a mainstay is called the Black Queen. I don't know if you're familiar with them. It's the singer from Dillinger Escape Plan, and then a couple of the guys who were in and out of Nine Inch Nails. And it's like
Okay.
an 80s synth pop sounding project.
Hmm.
And it's phenomenal. They have 2 albums out, and I can't stop listening to it. It's good. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And then Beartooth has been a big one for the past little bit. I just love Caleb's writing style, and just the fact that like he's one of those prodigies. He does everything himself, writes and
Yeah.
records, mixes, masters, everything, and it's just incredible.
He's been doing it for so long.
Bro, I can't. When he started, he was so fucking young,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
And he was making music like that. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Stupid.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Beartooth is just, I think that's going to be a mainstay for a while. Just everything, like even their newest single Riptide was just like so cool. And he's really good about talking about like his emotions and like the stories behind like why he wrote things. And so he's a really good artist that I kind of want to emulate with like connecting to people.
Yeah.
I've been really trying to do that on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and just talk about, why I wrote certain things or like just the kind of stories behind everything. And that really is a lot from Caleb. And then Spirit Box as well. When they started releasing their most recent singles, I kind of latched on and was just enamored with the guitars, the atmosphere, her
Yeah.
vocals.
Yep.
So good. Yeah. And then yeah, Nine Inch Nails always be like a huge thing.
Nine Inch Nails.
Always a mainstay. Another prodigy that just does everything himself, and it's
Right.
too
Did
fucking
you
good.
did you see the movie Soul? It's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. Yeah, Trent Reznor did all the fucking music for that movie, which was sick, dude.
Yeah, he's like just incredible. Like going from industrial, like angry stuff to being just like he's an award-winning soundtrack person
Yeah.
now. Like Jesus Christ, dude, stop.
I mean, like he had it back in the day when Johnny Cash covered one of his songs. Like that would have been peak for me, bro. I would have stopped right there.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
imagine the feeling.
Right?
that's the championship. Yeah. Wow.
You always got to get a little
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I know. I stay hungry, I guess, man. But yeah, he did that soundtrack. We watched that movie Soul, and I was in Target and I saw the vinyl for it, and it was like on the front of it says music by Trent Reznor, and I was like, that's fucking crazy, dude.
That's awesome.
That's nuts, man. But yeah, let's get some of these on here, man. Let's go with Era.
The Visionary.
I'd have to say Breach, but that was your
Come on, man. You know,
we
The
gotta figure
Visionary
it
is
out.
really good.
Fight.
Yeah, you know what? Just for the sake of peace, I will put both of them on there.
Oh,
I mean, if I
man.
were to go with something great by Era, it's an older song. I think it's called Warrior.
The Warrior.
Mm-hmm. It's from like a 2014 album, I want to say. And bro, that song is amazing.
All right. Memphis Mayfire.
Carry On.
And then I think I skipped one, Periphery.
Oh man, Periphery is kind of hard because let's go. Just put Marigold. Marigold is always a good.
Marigold. I've been seeing a lot online about them here recently. There's a lot of split
Opinions on their last
opinions on their last
singles.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's you know what I'm glad you mentioned that because I was very disappointed.
Oh, really?
Yes, and
I
I will say this: I love Periphery, but it just sounded like they just threw a bunch of stuff together and released it.
yeah.
It just kind of like there was no. Because if you listen to every other song by Periphery, it's gonna have dynamics, it's gonna build up and come down, it's gonna have some hooks and things like
Yeah.
that. But in this one, it just didn't feel like it.
They
It
are
was
like
boring.
in every conversation about Prague, Periphery comes up. They are like the kings of Prague, man. And they're everybody's, like I said, there's just a lot of split decisions on that. There's been a couple of Prague bands that we've interviewed, and the first thing to get them into Prague was Periphery. So,
Yeah.
and so, I mean, I can understand it, I guess.
I've never been a huge Periphery fan, but I can't get on board with his the vocals.
Yeah.
I've
I
been able to enjoy it.
I have only heard a couple of songs, but
Yeah,
I
I'll be
know
honest,
enough
I've only
about
heard a
them.
couple
I know. I mean, I'm on the internet enough that I know enough about them. They've got like a massive cult following in the Prague scene. So
Yeah.
The guitarist did an instrumental project called Haunted Shores, which I actually really enjoyed that album a lot.
yeah,
Which one? Mark Holcomb?
Holcomb and Mansour.
Mansour? Because also Mansour has a solo instrumental called Bulb.
yeah, he does. Yeah, Bulb.
Yeah. I don't think I've listened to that one yet.
It sounds honestly the same, just him and no vocals. That's it. But that's the thing is like once you know like you have Periphery and then the guys try to like write their solo stuff, it's kind of weird. Now Jake, the other guitarist, because there's three, Jake actually does a lot of EDM stuff and he writes electronic stuff.
There we go,
I
Brandon.
and I dare say, and I don't know if I'm right, but all the little backing tracks and everything that are, MIDI and things like that and keyboard, I want to say that was him who came up with them, but I don't know for a fact.
Yeah.
So just a theory, I guess, on my end.
We got Spirit Box next for both of you.
Yeah,
You take
one
it.
song each. I'm gonna judge you.
Yeah.
Brandon, which one do you want? I gotta
So
look it up.
my favorite song off their album that they released is The Summit. And it wasn't one of their singles, but that song's just really groovy and
Yeah.
it sucks me in, and that I love that song a lot.
Now let me get because I always forget song names. Circle with me. That's the one.
So glad you picked that one because that's like my close second.
Yeah, no, that's a great song as well.
I've only heard their Holy Roller. That's and I think Rule of Nines. That's the only two songs I've heard most.
Oh man,
And
you gotta listen to their whole album because
Yeah.
it's great.
You
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta listen to their stuff even before the album, man. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
and I will use that song title as a segue because there's a band that we're gonna be playing here next month with called Lucretia, and they made a cover of that song "Circle with Me," and it sounds almost identical. It's actually a really good cover, so I recommend checking them out.
Yeah, for sure. We
oh,
can
we'll do.
throw we're gonna throw some of those on here in a little bit if y'all want to throw some of those.
Cool.
But Make Them Suffer is next.
Make them suffer. Erase me.
I just saw them live recently.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. I have not heard a whole lot of Make Them Suffer either.
They're really
They're
good.
good.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing, man. Sometimes it takes me a while to get into a band, and sometimes I'm like right on top of it. I don't know. It's weird, dude.
They
And
did
the
a
cool
song
thing
with,
about them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brendan.
they did a song with Spirit Box vocalist that came out like last year. That's really good.
I'll have to check that out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about their name is that if you hate them, they're making you suffer.
Exactly.
Abiding you.
Yeah.
They're abiding by their name.
Yeah. The Black Queen,
Ooh, I think a good one to start with that is called Ice to Never.
Beartooth.
The Past is Dead.
That's another one that I never kept up with either, man. I'm behind on a lot of bands, bro.
It's
Gotta
okay.
get on it.
Yeah, I know.
It's like Silverstein, man. Silverstein. I was such a big fan of Silverstein back in between 2002 and 2007, 8. And
Yeah.
then I kind of like digressed because I started listening to a lot of other stuff, like death metal and stuff like that. So I felt like, oh, Screamo, I don't need to listen to that. I like death metal now.
Yeah.
And then
Dude,
I came back to
Hey,
them.
man. Silverstein, though, they're timeless, bro. I love that band.
Yeah.
There's so much music out there. It's like paralyzing, and there's only so much time in the day, to be
Yeah.
honest, for you to listen to.
Bro, I'll be
Keep
honest,
up
though.
with
I
it.
saw
Like,
that Shane actually did a really cool little like review of our song Ryan Gosling.
I saw
that's
that. Yeah.
awesome, dude. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, Shane does that. What is it called? Then I don't remember what it's called. He does like an episode a month or something like that on his podcast where he reviews like.
I'll have to check that out. It wasn't on that. I paid him. I did
Oh,
it
did
through
you? Okay.
Cameo and I was just like, hey, give us your honest opinion of this song. And he did. And it was
That's
great.
awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, he does like I forget what it's called, but I don't know if Pulse's paid him either, but Pulse's got a shout out on that. They listened to Pulse's, and then on the next episode, he was talking about like upcoming releases, and they actually made their list of top 5 upcoming releases. Pulse's did.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
a dope ass
imagine?
band, by the way.
Can you imagine if, when you asked Shane for his honest opinion and you paid him, he would have said, I hate this song?
I would have posted it. I would have posted it 100%. I would have been like, hey, Shane hates our song. Go listen to it and tell me what you think.
Yeah, if he hates it, check it out. Maybe you'll
Check it
like
out. It's horrible. And you might like it.
Yeah. And then last one I have wrote down is Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, man.
That's all you, Brandon. Brenson. Sorry, Brenson.
Man,
Where are my manners?
Yeah, Brandon.
Nine Inch Nails is hard because they have so many different things. But I think just what really got me into them was Head Like a Hole, just classic.
Like a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that I remember most is Closer.
Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
He shot that. He recorded that album in the Manson murder house in Sharon Tate's house where she was killed.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Right?
Fun fact.
That's how the house wrote and recorded that whole album in there.
That's nuts, dude. That's insane. I had something, but I don't. Adam, you want to take it away? That way I can think of what I had.
Sure. Alejandro, were you in any bands in Colombia?
No, not in Colombia. In Colombia, I was just I used to sing in a choir in Colombia.
Okay.
All the bands that I've been with and I still am with have been here in the US.
Okay.
So,
And what about you, Brandon? How many? I mean, we talked about the PTSD from bands. I mean, when did you get your start? In bands, and maybe some funny stories from those.
This is actually my first like full band that I've been in.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
perfect. Okay, didn't we just talk to someone who that was the same thing? Was that a Void or?
Yes, it was a Void.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
basically been that.
Have y'all heard
That
of
was
Void
his
yet?
band.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, they're
um,
fucking sick, dude. When we did the home team interview, Brian said that Avoid was a school of rock band. And I didn't quite understand what he was talking about. And then we just interviewed Benny from Avoid. Avoid started at one of those fucking school of rock camps.
that's
And
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah, he just like never changed. I mean, he changed the name of it, but he's been in that band. That's his first band, and it's fucking crazy. That's what he meant by school of rock band. I was like, what the fuck
That's
does that even
awesome.
mean? And then yeah, I didn't know they actually did that shit.
Oh, you mean with Jack Black?
Right? And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I heard that too, and I was like,
Yeah, but that's what he meant by that is that that Avoid started at one of those school of rock camps.
that's pretty
Well,
dope.
that's kind of like my buddy. We'll probably talk about him later, but he went to a place called Las Vegas Academy, and it's Las Vegas Academy is essentially like a high school, but instead of regular subjects, they do a lot of music focused teachings,
Mhm.
and he's a really great musician, and
Is this Thomas?
his yeah, this is Thomas. See, I didn't have to say it. You
I'm
said
not
it.
convinced Thomas is real.
He is real.
I
He's
still
very
think
much real.
Raccoons in a trench coat.
He's real
Oh,
to
he
me,
is
all right.
He's real to me, man. He's in my mind. And I see him in the corner every now and then. So anyway, so his project, which is called Tree Frog Express, is essentially started with other band members from Las Vegas Academy. No, not all of them are from the Las Vegas Academy, but I would say the core of the project has been from there,
Yeah.
and they've gone through a couple members since he started the project, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to ask, by the way. This is towards Brandon. So you're a fan of like the 80s hair metal and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
like the 80s like synthwave, are you a fan of that as well?
So I didn't used to be.
You used to be?
I was an asshole about music, man. I was like, it's metal or nothing, like
Yeah.
for
Same.
so long. But now more recently, like I've been listening to so much like Depeche Mode and Tears for Fears and like all of the classic like 80s like synth pop and synth wave stuff
Yeah.
is super cool. And I wish I would have given it a chance earlier in life.
There's like this like wave of like TikTok artists who are bringing that like 80s synthwave vibe back. They're blowing up so big, dude. And I'm not like a music snob by any means. I literally listen to everything, but that like the 80s synth stuff I could never really get into. And it's like coming back, and I'm like, God dang it! Like,
Well, I mean, like Dayseeker on their most recent album, they did a whole like deluxe album where all the songs were reimagined as that sound, and the
yeah,
vocalist actually has a project called Hurt Wave that's that sound, and they have a EP out that's I don't know, man, synthwave and like that whole synth pop. It's just sexy.
yeah.
Like it's so pleasing to me.
I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I haven't listened to it in a long time, so maybe I have to go back and give it a listen. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still some good songs that come out of that era, but like, I don't know. I never really got on board with it. But like I said, I haven't listened to it in fucking like a decade. So, but the newer bands, man, what do you think about? I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now. But do you think it's cool? It's making a comeback.
I think it's cool because I mean, I think everything, like the older I get, the more I realize that everything kind of circles back around.
Yeah,
Like
it's
no matter what
cool.
it is, it comes back at some point. And I think it's cool because there's like a lot of like the younger generation getting into that and like expanding on it.
Yeah.
So it's
I'll
cool
tell
because
you,
it's not a copy. Like there's definitely like some of the newer stuff that it has that vibe
yeah.
is still pretty different from like the 80s stuff that you would go listen to that obviously inspired it.
Yeah, so there's a band, I don't know if you've heard of them, and this is like my favorite thing that's come back in like a different way. It's fucking new metalcore. Have you heard any new metalcore bands?
And some people kind of are calling Spirit Box a little bit new metal,
No,
but
no, no. This
I
is
don't I wouldn't consider it that. But
so
I haven't seen anything that's like straight up like new metal
okay.
revival.
There is a band, and I Adam, he probably still hasn't listened to them. He's told me he's gonna listen to them like 15 fucking times. And I know it's a 20-minute fucking album, Adam, you piece of shit.
I'm sorry.
The band is called Omerta. Have you heard of them?
I haven't.
The fucking album is called Hyperviolence. Swear to God, dude, they're like it's like self-titled Slipknot era, but heavier. It is so fucking good, dude.
I'll have to check that out.
Like with the
Yeah.
turntables and everything, dude. Oh man, it's so fucking sick. I think they're
Hey,
from like Austin or something,
hey,
San
Augie,
Antonio, I believe. What?
I'm gonna listen to it.
I know. Yeah,
Promise.
yeah. I'm sure you are, asshole. But yeah, man, Omerta, definitely check it out. Their album artwork is like it looks like a little kid drew it,
Nice.
but they're good. The album's like 20 minutes, man. I can't stress it enough, dude. Omerta is so fucking cool, dude. It's so it's not new metal because it's metalcore, but it has a hell of a lot of new metal influences. So it's
That's cool.
fucking dope, dude. Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that when you talked about that new metal core, the first thing that came to my mind was like a newer new metal, right? And you know how
Yeah.
back in those days that new metal was essentially like hip hop and like rock mixed.
Yes.
You know, like if you think like POD or like Linkin Park and things like
Yes.
that. So that's what I thought you were talking about, but then you went on full like Slipknot type, and I'm like, oh, that's just not it, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, so their first album, they had like turntables and like, it was not their first album. It was their self-titled album.
Right.
Was that their first one?
They're first with Corey, yeah.
Okay, because
Self-titled.
yeah, okay, yeah. So it was that one. It's a subtitled album, and it has like the, like the turntables and all that shit in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was very
like
new
it.
metal. But the after that, with like Iowa and Subliminal Verses, that was more of your metal, straight up metalcore. But
Yeah.
uh, there's also bands like Dropout Kings. They're like rap rock, like rap screamo. It's fucking. I mean, I'm telling you, it's making like this weird comeback. It's like in the weirdest way,
It
and
is.
it's so fucking good, dude. I'm telling you, it's so good.
No band I still firmly believe started that was Faith No More, and they're still one of my favorites.
Faith No More.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Uh,
even Memphis Mayfire has a song called Mystery that it's got that little hip hop in the verses,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then it goes into like a melodic part on the choruses. It's pretty dope. And you
Yeah.
know, I've never been crazy, fond of that hip hop influence in rock, but I mean I dig it, especially nowadays that I've matured more when it comes to listening to music,
yeah,
not
Yeah.
mentally ready.
yeah. That's. I mean, I have to. I used to be like snobby or whatever. Well, actually, I don't know if I ever was. Like maybe towards certain bands. I don't know, but like I had like a 150 gig iPod when I was younger that had like 10,000 songs on it. So
You're one of those.
He was one of
Yeah.
those.
I was one of those, man. Yeah.
I had the little iPod Nano
I
that barely
fucking-
held like 500 songs. So if an album had an interlude, I'd just get
Yeah.
out of here.
I torrented
Waste of
every
space.
goddamn thing I could get my hands on, bro.
I mean, I don't blame you, because when I managed to get my hands on one of those iPods with that much capacity and I tried to add all the music that I could possibly think of in there, first, I still had plenty of room. Second, there was no chance in hell that I could ever listen to that much music.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous because I had artists like crazy and albums per artist, which
Yeah.
means songs per album per artist. You know, I was like, oh my God. And then you would put it in shuffle and that thing would last a year just playing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to it like now at my job now. I work, like I said, 10 hours a day. And for a solid 10 hours a day, I have a fucking earbud in listening to whatever. So I don't really have an excuse of why I haven't checked out certain bands, but I don't know.
You need to press the shuffle more often, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. But so if y'all want to throw on like I know y'all are about to play a show or like friends bands or homies or anything like that. Y'all can throw on some of their bands.
Songs.
Songs.
So, songs. So, I mean, I did mention that one by Lucretia, but that's a cover. So
Okay.
there is one by Lucretia that I do like, which I have to find again, obviously, because as we all know, we never remember anything.
Yeah.
Femto, Femto.
All right.
Then I will go with my buddy's band, Tree Frog Express. And these ones are weird because these are all like instrumental
Yeah.
But I would say Behind the Mask. Just go with
Okay.
that one.
See, Thomas
Yeah.
is real, Branson.
Thomas Israel.
I will believe it when I see him play.
You will. You know, funny thing is you will be in the same place as he will be.
For the first time ever. I'll be
For the first time
proven
ever.
wrong, or I will be proven right. I'm gonna rip that trench coat off. It's gonna be 3 raccoons.
Yep. Yep.
It probably will be. I mean, I
shit.
have not seen him without the trench coat, so it could be what's behind the mask.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all
Behind the
there.
trench
All the
coat,
signs.
So that's why the song is called Behind the Mask.
When's y'all's next song scheduled to release? Not by then, right?
So if you're listening to this,
March 13th.
March 13th.
So just
Sweet.
right before,
Perfect.
yeah.
Sweet.
I guess
Awesome.
we can kind of plug that a little bit if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah. Talk about it. Tell us about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this next song that is going to be coming out just a few days after this airs is not called Mofongo, called Living Insanity, and it touches on a lot of themes of PTSD, and it's our heaviest song to date. So be prepared for that.
Oh, that's the one Homer sent me. Okay, yeah. I've heard it. It's fucking good. I
But-
really enjoyed it.
so if you enjoyed whatever version he sent you, of course
Yes.
the final has not yet. I mean, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, it's gonna be released soon. But you know, today, which is in the past from where you're standing,
Yeah.
you know, it still hasn't been, you know, finished up. So we're excited to hear how it's gonna
Yes, he
sound.
did tell me. He said it hasn't been mastered or anything like that yet. So it's just like a draft or it's just a rough whatever. But man, it's fucking good. It's really good. I enjoyed it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's fun.
Yeah. What's it called?
Living Insanity.
Living Insanity. Okay, yeah. Hell yeah, dude. So what we'll do is when that drops, you know what, maybe we can schedule an episode with Homer as well. That way we can kind of help promote it even more.
Yeah.
So for this playlist right here, we'll go ahead and throw on Ryan Gosling and Just Face It. So we'll start the playlist off with Ryan Gosling, and then we'll end it with Just Face It. And then if we can get another one of these scheduled with Homer when he gets to feeling a little better, we'll add Living Insanity on there as well. So
Yeah.
we'll do one of these with them, and that way maybe we'll help promote it a little more. So,
That would be awesome.
y'all, of course, y'all use Spotify. So give me the last song y'all listened to on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, you start because mine is gonna be silly. So
This past week, I've actually been listening to our vocalist Omar. He told me I need to listen to this album by The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay.
I think it's their most recent one. But the song that I really love off of it is called Noise.
Okay.
That's the last thing I listened to before I jumped on here.
Okay.
I've been having that album going for like the past week.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
the reason I say this one is silly is because the song that I last listened to is actually a song that I I did all by myself with another project that I'm in. So it's called Paralyzed. The band name is Damage Savage, and yeah, that's why it's so silly.
Okay. We'll throw it on here too.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, man.
So, guys, if for the listeners out there, if you want to drop, let us know what your social media handles are. I know we already talked about a little bit about some of the new music coming out soon. Any shows or planned shows you'll have coming out for obviously the timeline we spoke about, and just anything that you guys have going on.
Yeah, so we've got a show March 4th, but this is coming out after that.
Yeah.
So we had a show. We had our first show 5 days ago on March 4th.
Yeah, it went well.
Yeah.
Right here.
But we do have a show, I believe, April 22nd in Utah,
Okay.
at the Boardwalk in Orem, Utah. I believe it's the 22nd. So that'll be the next show coming up after this airs. And all of our social medias are just at Image Intent, without the slash, because nobody likes me to put that in stuff when I'm creating social media names.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you listen.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
No, they just don't allow me to do it. I can't put the slash in there on like Instagram or TikTok or anything. It doesn't let me.
Yeah. When I tried to tag off, when I used your song to open one of these, I put the slash in there and it canceled out my at, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing, man.
Something about like computer logic, like it doesn't let you name stuff with certain symbols in it.
Yeah. Yo, so I listened to this podcast. There was apparently there's this dude in the United States. His last name is Null, Null.
Oh no.
And if you know anything
way.
about computer programming, if you type Null in like anything, it doesn't work because that is just like a blank thing that they use, right?
Yeah.
So he I think he like changed his license plate to Null, Null, and he started receiving like speeding tickets and just like tickets from everybody in the fucking United States.
Oh my God.
Because he fucked up their system.
It's funny you say that name, because that's actually another song that we wrote with the other band. It's called No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's just
good
like,
luck on putting that anywhere, man.
No, believe it or not, it is out on like Spotify and everything like that. But
yeah.
What's crazy is it's just No. Or wait. So the EP, we titled the EP I Am No. Chapter 1, I Am No.
Okay.
The song itself is just No. And then nobody can ever understand what No means or grasp the concept of No. And it's about, well, you have to listen to it if you want to. But,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's crazy shit, dude. It's nuts, man. But we appreciate you coming on and talking to us, man. We enjoyed it. And like I said, I'll be in touch. If I can get this out a little sooner, which I might be able to, we could probably hold one of these interviews and put yours out to promote your new song and everything. So
that'd be awesome.
But, yeah, man. Thank y'all so much for coming on. And
hey guys, thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Thank you so much
for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. See y'all later.
Have a good night.
Hey, see ya.